Capitals across the nation are boosting security until after next week's inauguration. NASA test firing 4 new rocket engines that will eventually propel astronauts to the moon again.
South for South, please continue to monitor your system, and grass is in control.
The test at the Stennis Space Center near Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. The Artemis program aims to send astronauts, including the first woman, back to the moon by 2024. America is listed at Launch News.
Good oral care habits.
Not tuned into the truth frequency.
Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She's gone with her hypnotic dance.
Hey, everybody. It's one of those moments I'm just waiting. When's the right time? Is it now? Is it now? Welcome, everybody, to the Paranormal Portal. It's our Saturday edition, meaning we have 2 full hours of fun ahead, and I'm thrilled you guys are coming in to be here. It's a great pleasure, as always, to do the shows. It's an even greater pleasure to see all of you guys showing up to be here for the shows. That's always a humbling, amazing experience, and I really, really appreciate it. So hope you guys are doing great. Thank you for being here with us. Again, the phones are not working. I was working on it a little bit just before the show, tried everything I can think of on my end, but no go. So it looks like it won't be until Monday when I can contact the company and say, why aren't the phones working? They just don't seem to be. So I apologize for that. We won't have that capability here tonight, but as soon as we get them back, of course, it'll be fun to talk to you guys again. But until then, you're going to have to listen to me pretty completely. And I brought another voice along, one that you're all well familiar with. It's our good friend and co-host, Mr. Don Longbeard.
Good evening.
And good evening to you, Mr. Longbeard. How you doing?
I'm doing well tonight.
You're rather shadowy. It is kind of shadowy tonight, isn't it?
Shadowy,
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it depends on what's on your screen.
Yeah,
that's
probably true.
We both have these monitors facing us, so we get all kinds of levels of lighting throughout the course of the show, depending on what we're reading. And so, welcome everybody. If you're new to the Paranormal Portal, of course, this is our forum for all things paranormal, and it's all on the table. We'll discuss cryptids, Bigfoot, Dogman, everything else,
or anything you would like to shout out in the chat room.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's anything that you guys are really fond of, we'll talk about that too. We'll talk about ghosts, hauntings, demons.
How about sake?
We could talk about it, but that is a spirit, of course. But
one of my favorites.
I don't know if that qualifies. But we can also talk about UFOs, aliens, abductions, ancient astronauts, and strange phenomena like the Mandela effect, whatever. We talk about all of it here. We just got this whole huge playground of the mind available to us. And we like to exploit that as much as we can because, it's fun. It's funner to talk about a lot of stuff, right, Don?
It is.
It is. We enjoy it quite a bit. And besides, it really helps that we never run out of things to talk about.
That is true.
There's always lots going on. But if there is a topic that we haven't covered or we'd like to hear us cover more.
Tough luck.
No, that's not what I was going to say, Don. That was not what I was going to say.
Oh,
what I was going to say was you can email me at paranormalportal@gmail.com.
Oh, I suppose you
paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. Sorry, I forgot the radio. So we'll be happy to look into other topic areas as well. And just a little sneak peek tomorrow, the new podcast will be released. We'll be doing part 2 with Marcel who is from Washington State, dealing with a lot of Bigfoot research and stuff. So we did a part 1 with him. It was a great show. He's just a really great guy, full of all kinds of experience and information. So part 2 will be coming up tomorrow on the podcast. So tomorrow, yes, indeed. So you got that to look forward to. If you're not already following our podcast, please do so. You can find our podcast on all the major platforms: iHeart, iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, and there's CastBox and so many more. There's so many platforms. So if you got a platform you use for podcasts, just do a search for Paranormal Portal, and you should find us. We're there, I promise. So that's everything I can think of on the front end, Don.
Okay, cool.
Can you think of anything else?
Nope.
Nope.
Teespring.
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 If you want to help support the show, check out our teespring.com/stores/paranormal-portal. And the link is in the description on YouTube. If you want to check that out, that goes a long way to help support us and keep the doors open. But I guess it's time for the news. The news. Thank you. It's the only news in the world that has its own like cheer, clap track, applause track. It's because it's not fake news, folks. This is the real news. That's what we do here on the Paranormal Portal News Desk. We cover paranormal news, and tonight got a few weird stories to talk with you about. Some really cool things, I think. I enjoy the news segments. They're kind of fun. Gives us a chance to showcase these shorter format kind of blurbs of the paranormal. But the first article I'm going to bring you tonight is from a site called Animalian.com. You should check it out. It's a great site. They also got a podcast, so you can check them out as well. Underwater UFO appeared on beach webcam along the coast in California. A beach webcam placed in beacons unexpectedly filmed a glowing USO, unidentified submerged object, that mysteriously appeared along the coast of Encinitas, California. Is that right? That's right. Encinitas, I think that's right.
I just read encephalus.
Jesus. God, you just did a consonant explosion. Encinitas, California on May 7th, 2020. The person who sent the video to MUFON described the amazing UFO sighting as follows. Around 10:30 p.m., my son was viewing the surf webcam video located at beacons in Encinitas, and around 3-minute mark, you can see an orange object in the lower left quadrant of the screen. We observed the object rises up from the ocean, then submerge, all the while being able to see the orange object with an orange tail/exhaust hovering above the ocean. Then submerged, then began flashing, while the light moving very fast, and when it looked like it was on the horizon, ascended, flashed, and then disappeared.
Wow.
The day after this particular site had been shut down, they shut it down, and the video was gone. Luckily, my son had saved the video. Is there another evidence that there's a hidden underwater UFO base off the coast of California? Is this?
USO.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep, it is. Sorry. So, there is a video, and we're going to check it out.
Let's do it.
Well,
this is news.
Want to see it? Here it is. Let me blow this up a little bit and kill the sound. It's, wow.
Oh.
There it is. Let me put it, it's on screen, so there it is, just sitting there. It's a very slow video. It's just kind of sitting there, though, right?
Yeah, so far.
There it goes. Now it's kind of getting into focus a little bit. Huh. So is that above the water?
Why does it look like it's reflecting?
It does. Down here it's reflecting, yeah. But I can't figure out why it's having trouble hanging on to its focus. It's just sitting there. Oh, look at that. Well, it did.
It's surfaced. Oh, okay.
Now it just went under.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that really is bizarre, isn't it? That looks like it's small, though, doesn't it?
Wow.
There it is.
That doesn't look very big, yeah.
No, it looks like about drone size, but I don't know. Are there drones that you can fly and then dive and
Underwater drones?
right? But they also fly. It seems to me there should be. If there isn't, and there it goes up into the sky.
That's
Wow.
weird.
But it's very tiny. I guess when I'm thinking of USO, I'm thinking something about the size of a motorboat,
Like
a boat.
Abyss.
Yeah, but this is about the size of it looks like about the size of maybe a paddleboard or something. It doesn't look much bigger. Huh. And then it just goes up in the air. Let's check that out again, folks, just for the sake of doing that. I don't know, it kind of started out way up here. Oh, it started out right where the video actually gets the orange in it. Let me see.
Yeah, I was wondering because that wasn't 3 minutes.
No, it wasn't. But I'm trying to figure out where it does start. I went back too far.
Cookie says it's a weather balloon made by two-legged swamp gas bears.
That could be. I think this is where it's coming into frame. Here it is, yeah. Wow, that was kind of a weird angle there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was too much of a right angle.
That's what I thought too. Let's go back and check that out. That's very peculiar. Now, that's a good question. Could it be fabrication? Just something put on top? The weird part is that it keeps fighting for focus. And if it's on a fixed screen, why is it fighting for focus?
Yeah.
Because he made a copy of the video. What is interesting is when it turns. You can see it like turns, and that cone of light kind of rotates with it. I find that very interesting. I hope my picture's not screwing it up, is it? Let's see, where's my camera? No, not almost. Let me move that over here.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go back. I think my camera might have been screwing that up. Sorry, folks. I just thought about it now. But let's see, where is it? Okay. Well, look at there. There's kind of like a... Did you see that? Hold on.
I'm sorry, I missed.
Look at there's like a light in the water here. Watch how light that is.
Oh yeah, there's something reflecting off the water.
There was for a second, yeah. That's really strange. And then just boom, right angle goes over. Sorry, excuse me, I had to cough. This is very curious. Okay, so it's just kind of sitting here now. This is pretty interesting. I don't know what to think about this. I'm a little... was that a time shift right there?
Yeah, what was that?
That looked like a time shift to me. There. It's like the waves slowed down or something. Maybe it's just because of the focus. It seems like it's a time shift, but the blurry versus the sharp image. I don't know. It's so tiny, though.
Yeah.
That's what's very peculiar. Now, again, if this is an advanced civilization, they can probably make much better drones than we can. Boom, it's in the water. There is no disturbance at all, though, is there? There's no wake trail for it gliding along the surface. I don't know, folks. I'm not really convinced with this. And
me neither.
There's no water displacement from anything. When it dove in the water, when it was gliding along the surface, there's no wake displacement. Yeah, I don't know. You be the judge, I guess, but that's the claim being made here, folks. Maybe it is. I can't be conclusive about it. There's a few things that really stuck out as odd to me, but the fact that there's no displacement of the surface whatsoever, no rings emerging from where it jumped into the water, and when it was gliding along the surface around there's no displacement. And no, granted, it might be small, but it just seems that there should be some displacement. There was another one of those blue waves. Look at that. Wait, a little bit further. Watch this wave coming in. It looks like there's a light on it. Or maybe it wasn't this one. Yeah, kind of there. But maybe it's this one. It gets really light.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's strange. I don't know. There's another one, yeah. Like there's something off camera here that's really bright, but not consistent. Hard to say, folks. Don't know what it is. Don't know what's going on here. But could be an actual USO captured on film. You be the judge.
It's a surfer's cam.
It's a what?
It's a surfer's cam. So they just...
A surfer's cam?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a surfer's cam, yeah. Yeah, it's just to watch the surf to see when the waves are coming. Yep. And that's cool. Cool deal. But I don't know. It's very interesting. I find that really interesting. But again, I'm not making any solid claims here, folks. But here's an interesting one. This one is just more of a almost like a new species discovered. Or maybe it's not new, but it's very unusual. Hold on a sec. Sorry about that. I'll go to bed, huh? All right, so this one is an article again from Animalien.com. Russian fishermen catch squeaking mysterious alien creature and eat it. They don't know what it is. They're eating it. Some time ago, village residents from the Rostov region of Russia caught a weird creature after a strong storm in the Sea of Azov. The shark-looking creature was producing strange squeaky sounds. The fishermen originally believed that they had caught an alien and decided to film the monster with the help of a cell phone camera.
There you go.
Well, what's plan B? Let's eat it. The footage clearly shows the creature had body and long tail. The bizarre catch was weighing almost 100 kilograms. Wow. The Komsomolskaya Pravda reports. I was really beat the hell out of that word, didn't I?
Yeah, with a bat.
I know. However, ufologists and scientists were greatly disappointed when they found out that the fishermen had eaten the monster. They said that they were not scared of the creature, so they decided to use it as food. One of the men said that it was the most delicious fish he had ever eaten.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Chairman of the Anomalous Phenomena Service, Andrea Gorodovoy, stated that the creature, which he could see on the short video, was an anomalous being. However, it could hardly be described as an extraterrestrial form of life, he added. Gorodovoy rejected the version about mermaids, too. There are many legends about mermaids living in the Sea of Azov. Nevertheless, specialists of the Service for Anomalous Phenomena have never confirmed those fairy tales. On the other hand, we do not deny the possibility of other forms of life in the Sea of Azov, the ufologist said. A spokesman for the Rostov-based zoo, Alexander Lipkovich, contacted local ichthyologists and asked their opinion about the Azov alien, and they said that the fish bears resemblance to a sturgeon. It does. That's true. Excuse me. It was extremely interesting individual. I've never seen anything like this before in my whole life, the specialist said. Let's have a look at it.
Let's take a look-see.
There it is. Okay, I can do without that sound. There it is.
Huh.
It doesn't look like it's squeaking anymore, Don.
No?
No.
No. I wonder if they already started filleting it.
I don't know.
Do you fillet that?
I don't know. I don't know what you do.
It's like a skate. You got to get through the...
A skate? That is a kind of fish, isn't it?
They pee through their skin.
Oh, dude. You just wrecked skating for me forever. No, that is weird. It does.
I kind of wish they would have turned it over because,
yeah.
you know.
Well, maybe they do. It doesn't look like it, though. Those are the eyes, I guess.
The eyes, the mouth, no nose.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like it's got teeth, right?
Staring back at you.
Or is that gills? Is that just gills? Maybe the eyes are on the other head.
Yeah,
on the other side.
You know, I wonder if it's related to a flounder because it, you know, if
they're flat, yeah.
Yeah, if they're flat. Yeah.
They might be a flatfish, yeah. But the interesting thing is, folks, is this is a new species of something that was discovered and then and then eaten, which is awesome. But it does have a sturgeon top here. If you ever seen the underside of a sturgeon, it really does look like that. Now, I think there are sturgeon that live in the sea. Perhaps this is some kind of branch of the sturgeon family. But that is a good comparison. I remember seeing sturgeon at the Mall of America. I've caught sturgeon when I was younger, but they were smaller. But the one at the Mall of America was really big in the underwater aquarium there. And it swam over, and you're in this tube of glass. And it does look like a face, just like that. Although these are not eyes. I believe those are the undersides of the gills. So, but very curious. Best fish you ever had, though, Don?
Elaine says I would not eat that.
You would not eat that?
No.
Well, I think I would be really hesitant to eat something you don't know what it is. Because how many fish are there that, like, even sushi chefs have to prepare just right, otherwise you'll die?
Oh, but Brent, the thing you need to remember is there's plenty of fish in the sea.
There are. But there's also some you shouldn't eat.
It's a Chernobyl sunfish. Yes. Yes, Mr. A. Bauman, you're correct.
Chernobyl sunfish. Yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. But the interesting thing is this is something that hadn't been seen before, allegedly, and now has been seen. So when you know, when people presume we've got this stuff all sorted, we don't. You know, there's a fish that was just caught. Nobody knows what the hell it is. It was eaten, but it was caught. So very curious, I think. I think that's very curious. So we got another one here to bring you guys for the news. Let me check the time here. We got 7 minutes. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Let's see, which one shall I share? I think I'll go on to this one. There's 2 more, but this one is, I think, a good place to start. Sometimes we hear about these quite a bit. In the paranormal world, the supernatural world, is the fact that some people believe the direwolves are still around, that they're still around. But this is an article from unexplained-mysteries.com. It says, direwolves were a distinct species, study finds. These giant prehistoric beasts made famous by the Game of Thrones were part of a mysterious ancient lineage. Karen Mitchell of the University of Adelaide, Alice Moulton of the University of Liège, Angela Perry of Durham University, and Laurent France of the University of Munich outlined their findings. Thanks to the hit television series Game of Thrones, the direwolf has gained a near mythical status. But it was a real animal and roamed the Americas for at least 250,000 years until it became extinct towards the end of the last ice age, around 13,000 years ago. While in popular culture, the direwolf is portrayed as a giant predator hunting in snow-covered northern landscapes, most scientists instead agree that the direwolf was a very close cousin to the gray wolf, the living species from which the dog was domesticated. Our research published in the Journal of Nature shows that both of these characterizations are mistaken. For the first time, we were able to sequence ancient DNA from remains of a now extinct dire wolf, providing surprising new insights into its origins and biology. In addition to the gray wolf, there are 8 related wolf-like species alive today, including the coyote, African wild dog, and 3 species of jackal. We originally expected our genetic data to confirm what was already known based on looking at the size and shape of their bones. The dire wolf was just a large gray wolf or very close relative. Instead, by comparing direwolf DNA to that of a living species, we found that the direwolf belonged to an unknown 6 million-year-old lineage that was no more closely related to gray wolves than to jackals or to the African wild dog. This suggests that the resemblances between dire and gray wolves may have only been skin deep, or bone deep, strictly speaking. Evolving depictions of the direwolf, in contrast to its depiction in the Game of Thrones, the fossil record of the direwolf shows it actually lived in temperate or tropical areas of the Americas. The gray wolf, on the other hand, is often found in the Arctic or high latitude areas, and all of those in North America today descend from a single colonization around 20,000 years ago. In evolutionary terms, this means the 2 species may have only encountered each other relatively recently. Though dire and gray wolves then shared the same environment for thousands of years, our new genetic data revealed that they did not interbreed. This was surprising, given that interbreeding between wolf-like species tends to be a rule rather than an exception. We concluded that the direwolf must have been geographically isolated for a long time to build up such a pronounced biological difference that it could no longer interbreed with the gray wolf when they met again in North America. The science suggests we should imagine the direwolf as a very different animal to the gray wolf. When the 2 species did finally meet, they were likely to already have evolved very different behaviors, diets, appearances. Although we have no evidence about soft tissues or hair color, paleo artist Mauricio Anton represented them in the picture at the top of this article as more like a giant dhole, a wolf-like animal found in Asia, with short reddish hair and larger ears for improved thermal regulation. Excuse me. So why did the direwolf disappear, but not the gray wolf or the other wolf-like species? Most scientists agree that the direwolf specialized in hunting large herbivores, many of which included horses, bison, camels, became extinct or drastically declined in North America around 13,000 years ago, and the disappearance of their prey almost certainly drove the direwolf extinct. In contrast, the more flexible and adaptive gray wolf can survive on a greater variety of food sources. Our new results help to explain these observations by showing that direwolves probably evolved to become specialized over millions of years, meaning it was likely to have been very hard for them to adapt to rapid changes in their environment and prey. Plus, while some animal species like the gray wolf can sometimes evolve new adaptations after interbreeding with related species, this apparently wasn't possible for the direwolf. In the end, our results highlight just how much biological diversity has been lost in the recent past, and as no living members of the direwolf lineage now survive. The direwolf thus represents yet another cautionary tale about how vulnerable specialized species are to rapid environment changes, such as those driven by climate change or invasive species, much like the cheetah. They think that they would be just one heartbreak away from absolute extinction. Anyway, so I don't know. I guess that's interesting. This is apparently a depiction of what the direwolf looked like. They do look like gray wolves, though. I don't know. That looks like a big gray wolf to me.
Judging books by the cover, I see.
I am. That's all I can read, Don. The cover's all I can read. All right, but interestingly enough, that is a little bit about the direwolves for those of you that are curious and have heard it. Now, there are claims that they're still around, folks. People are still saying, oh, there's direwolves. People are still seeing them, and maybe that's true. I don't discount that could be a possibility, right. But I think if they are around there in very isolated pockets and, maybe they have evolved something different as well, but I guess they can't interbreed, apparently. Who would have thunk it? No, I don't know. I don't know how you can know whether something can interbreed or not. I guess they're just from studying the genetics, they know if there was any interbreeding up to that point.
Right.
But maybe after that point there was. I don't know. It just seems to me life, like Jeff Goldblum says in Jurassic Park, life finds a way.
Right. And
I think that's probably the case for a lot of species that have disappeared, is that they probably do become something else or something different. Maybe it does. I don't know. Just a thought. But anyway, that's all I got to say about that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the news. All right, folks. Well, we are back here at the desk, the regular Paranormal Portal desk. And we're going to go to our first break, believe it or not. We are there. So don't go away. We're going to take a couple minute break, and we'll be back with the rest of the show. So we'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're into the second half hour of our amazing journey into the paranormal portal, and I am so glad so many of you are here with us. We are, of course, slated for a 2-hour complete show, and so that gives us another hour and a half to go. So I hope you don't have any plans, because I'm sorry, but excuses will not be honored. We will not be given hall passes. We will not be excusing your absence. We will be taking attendance every half hour. Right, Don?
Yes, every half hour.
It's like my Ed McMahon over here.
And here's Brenty. Sorry, wrong side.
No, that's actually a name I grew up with. For some reason, my family always called me Brenty. I don't know. They still do to this day. I don't know why. I don't know how that ever happened, but it did. It sounds weird now that I think about it, but it's just something I'm used to.
It's just now standing. Hey, Brenty. Here's Brenty.
What do you do?
Oh, well.
All right. Well, we have a lot more paranormal in the chamber here to.
Hey. Relish Razor says, "Hey, Brenty."
Hey, Relish Razor. Yes, that's my eldest son, actually. He's the eldest of my gene pool. My procreative efforts to seed the planet.
Better the world.
To seed the planet, yeah.
We're taking over. One generation at a time.
Oh, boy.
Hi, my boy. How you doing? But anyway, we are... Yeah, you're the big boy.
Big boy. That's what she said.
Hey, this is my kid, dude.
Your tribe. Yes, your tribe.
Jeez, Louise. Gotta monitor this stuff. There should be like a 3-second delay so I can kill things before they hit the air. No, folks, we got a bunch of more paranormal stuff to go through. So I hope you're all ready to be entertained. Don, are you ready to entertain?
I'm always entertained.
Do you want to let me read something, or do you want to read something?
No, go ahead. I'll save mine for second hour.
Oh, okay. All right, Don's gonna hog the second hour, folks. So that means.
So didn't Ed McMahon do like a talent show or something? What
Star
was
Search.
He did do Star Search.
Yeah,
but didn't
Star
he do
Search.
like something back in the 70s?
I don't know.
That's people.
No, I don't know.
I don't remember now. Anyhow, sorry.
Okay. Well, now that we've gone down the journey of Ed McMahon, let's return to the Paranormal Portal. And this is, tonight I'm going to bring you an article from our very own Brent sponsor, mysteriousuniverse.org, from December 9th, 2019. Now, first of all, I want to say that this is a cryptid type that I had never heard about until I heard it mentioned on the Confessionals podcast.
Right.
I had never, ever heard of this. And it was the bizarre, strange, weird, like, what the hell? I'd never even thought, and that's the thing with the paranormal, is you just don't know what's out there. How many things could be out there? But, folks, this is one that seriously really kind of cooked my bacon. And this is an article that was written by Brent Swanser about bizarre encounters with mysterious deer men. Now, from what I understand, and I haven't pre-read this article at all, but what I've heard of these deer people, they are essentially a bipedal version of deer. They seem to walk around and they can run on their two legs just fine. They look kind of like a cross between a man and a deer. Very, very strange, very weird. I don't know what the hell to do with it. But it's strange. It's out there. So we're going to read this article in case you haven't heard of it as well. But again, I heard about this the first time on Tony Merkel's The Confessionals podcast. And I was like, what? And it was from a witness that had experienced them. A really amazing story. And I can't tell you what episode it was, but definitely I would encourage you to check it out. It was really bizarre. But let's get into this. Again, from mysteriousuniverse.org, definitely check out Mysterious Universe if you're interested in the paranormal, the Fortean, the bizarre. They just have some amazing articles over there. So this is, in the words of cryptozoology, and the paranormal, there have come all manner of strange encounters with bizarre humanoids. There are Bigfoot, dogmen, even goatmen, and humanoid rabbits. Have you heard of humanoid rabbits?
No, we'll have to.
He's got a link in here. Thank God. We're going to be hearing about humanoid rabbits next. Thank you, Brent Swancher. I love you. As well as all other manner of others that remain truly unclassifiable. Among these are reports of something almost absurd in sheer weirdness. That of reports that seem to describe some sort of humanoids that are half man and half deer. If it sounds utterly bonkers, it's because it is. But there are numerous reports of these entities, so strap yourself in for a trip through some thoroughly wild accounts of deer men roaming the wilds out past the fringes of the truly outlandish and bizarre. A few odd encounters with so-called deer men have made the rounds on Reddit, and one of these is from a poster called Elrim, who says that this happened to him when he was around 12 years old and had moved to a rural farmhouse with his family somewhere in the United States while their usual house was being repaired after a fire. He says that at the time he had been staying in a loft with a large window facing out over the remote property. And it is through this window that he witnessed something extremely outlandish one evening. The witness says, I was just sitting in for the night with my little lantern and my book when something passed by my window. I shrugged it off as a reflection of a car going by and started reading my book. It happened again, and this time I got up and went to the window. And this is where it gets weird.
Really?
Yeah, we're on a journey into the weird, Don.
Wow, there we go.
Standing in the middle of the yard was a deer. It stood on its hind legs, and its neck was bent at an odd angle, like it was broken or something. It walked with a strange grace, especially for something that appeared to be so out of place. Through grass across the road, and it disappeared into the woods. At no point during seeing this creature was I afraid. I was actually very calm somehow, and even went to my sleeping bag and went back to reading, not even thinking about what I had just seen. This is really out of character for me, to say the least. I'm the type to get worked up over seeing a bug in the house. The next morning, I told my mom what I saw, and she seemed totally unaffected. She just told me not to tell anyone and sent me off to school.
What?
Yeah, apparently she doesn't want anyone thinking her kid is nuts. I assume, though, she thought I was seeing things due to the stress of the fire. But I know exactly what I saw, and I was not dreaming or even close to falling asleep when it happened. We moved to our new house about 3 weeks after I saw the deer men, and I've only told a few people about what happened, and I've never seen anything like that since. But I'm terrified of going into the woods. When I think about it, now it's super scary, and I'm not sure why I was so calm. Oh, look at that depiction. That's pretty wild. I'm gonna put this. I'm not sure if. Well, Bam's in TFR. Let's send this over to Bam. Somebody else is in there. Paisley's in there too. So let's check this out. There you go, Bam and Paisley. You can look at the link. There is a depiction of what this would look like. It does almost look like a fawn in a sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a satyr.
Yeah. Wow. What was this otherworldly entity, and what did it want? Another Reddit report comes from user NewType06, who had his own bizarre experience while out on a Boy Scout camping trip. On this evening, he and some others were taking a short hike through the woods surrounding a cornfield, and they came to an area that had been harvested and cleared. Out in the moonlight, they saw something out there that was unlike anything they'd ever seen before or since, of which the witness says, "We see a thing. We assumed it was a deer. The problem was it reeked like a rotting corpse." Oh, is that a Wendigo?
Yeah.
Ooh. And we could hear very heavy, almost distressed breathing from the thing.
Yep, run.
Run, faster, faster. What had us initially think it was a deer where there were very obvious antlers on its head. We make some noise to scare whatever it is, screaming,
Bad idea.
growling, making a general ruckus to no effect. This thing stands up on two scrawny hoofed, we think, legs, and looks right at us, its eyes glinting in the moonlight like an animal in headlights. When it saw us, it was dead silent. No more breathing or anything. This thing looked to be at least 6 or 7 feet tall, hunched over, pale skin, patches of fur like an animal with mange, lanky like a deer with an elongated face, and it let out a cataclysmic sounding howl.
Wow.
It was like a woman, a man, and a dying rabbit screaming all at the same time.
Wow.
Dude, that's a Wendigo.
Yeah, get the hell out of there.
Yeah, that's not a deer, people. I remember every single hair on my body standing on end. We were frozen in fright. It begins to move towards us in a creepy, shuddering motion, like it was a sickly robot, and we scream and flee towards the woods and the bonfire that the adults had going. I remember glancing backward while running, myself in front of my best friend. I was faster. And seeing it very nearly on us. Its arms swung as if they were strings tied to a nail with very visible fingers on its hands. It seemed to have too many fingers, in fact. The huffing it made and the stench became all the stronger as we fled. We had to make it back to the fire to see that it's no longer following us. The adults asking us what was wrong and why we looked so sheet white and scared. They had heard the howl, thinking it was us dicking around. We ended up moving our tents, made of plastic sheeting, by the adults' campsite and bonfire to be safe. The adults standing watch all night to make sure that there were no rabid animals or crazy people in the woods that would harm us, and it was by far the most scary thing I've ever had to go through. But we haven't heard of this thing since.
It's because you're looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah. Bizarre indeed. One account from Cryptozoology News was made in northeast Ohio by a witness who claims that he was at his cousin's house playing hide and seek outside one day when he was 14 years old. It was reportedly around dusk, and they were playing near a wooded creek when it was the witness' turn to search. And as he did, he claims that he heard the sound of leaves cracking underfoot, and he turned to look, expecting to see his cousin, but instead saw a deer through the brush that appeared to be oddly standing up on its hind legs. Unusual for a deer, but which would prove to be even stranger than that. The report reads, "It was getting dark, and I was the one searching. I heard leaves crumpling, and when I turned to look, I saw what looked like a deer on its hind legs. I clearly remember seeing dog legs running, but the rest of the body was straight up, and it ran with incredible speed. And I knew it wasn't either of my cousins hiding. I ran as fast as I could back to the house, and one of my cousins was running in too. He saw the same thing, and it still creeps me out to this day, because my uncle always told us how he saw weird things on that property."
Well, you know, and a few people in chat have mentioned it, but I also have seen deer stand on their back legs.
Sure.
And they can be 6 to 7 feet tall, you know.
Yeah, if they're going after a feeder or something.
Yeah, or an apple or a plum on a tree, like, you know, my wild plums that Bigfoot likes to eat. You know, but, you know, so, I mean, that's... You know, but the running, the chasing them.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah, that's bad.
A sighting of a similar creature that appeared to have also had the ability of shape-shifting was made by the state of Delaware in 1993. The state made the claim?
Made in the state.
Oh, made in the state.
My goodness.
I was like, what?
Glad I'm not wearing my glasses.
The witness claims that he was around 8 years old at the time, and he had been staying with his family at his grandparents' house in a rural forested area near the town of Hockessin. One morning, he says he woke to a clear day with the sun shining in through the window, and also the surreal sight of the silhouette of a deer with a huge rack of antlers standing just outside. Things would get bizarre rapidly, and the witness says of what happened next thusly.
I
know thusly.
Thusly.
I know, right? Thus or thusly. I mean, I've never heard anybody else use it, but he does. It was right there, almost pressed against the window in profile. I stared in awe, and that's when it changed. In one smooth moment, it reared up on its hind legs and was no longer a deer, but a man. And there were only two men in the area, my grandfather and my dad, and it was clearly neither. Not sure if that made it better or worse. Grandfather was very built for his age, but Dad had a gut. The silhouette was clearly younger, muscular, but not in the like a brick way my grandfather was. It exuded strength, and it scared the hell out of me. It stared to the side for a moment and then strode off with purpose, looking back. I want to tell myself it was just my imagination of a half-awake child, but I remember the awe and the utter fear I felt when the deer changed. That sounds almost shamanistic, though, right?
That sounds more like a skinwalker
Yeah.
than a wendigo or a deer, definitely.
Right. Well, or a shaman. There's the Native American shamans are
Brujas.
Yeah. This report is especially otherworldly and paranormal in nature, with the mention of what seemed to be shapeshifting of some sort. And a similar report comes from the files of researcher Albert Rosales from the witness on the Cheyenne River in Sioux Reservation in South Dakota. In 2010, the witness says that he was driving home from a late shift at work along Highway 63 when he came to a patch of thick fog. Peering through the murk ahead, he claims that he could see a group of women standing along what appeared to be a ditch, all of them wearing oddly fashioned clothing. He was apparently so mesmerized by the sight that he turned his vehicle around and drove back, only now, instead of women, there were some deer standing right where they had been.
Huh.
He parked the car and looked out into the animals, finding it extremely odd that they should be there and those women had been standing just moments before. And he had the distinct feeling that they were staring back at him and studying him. This was unnerving enough that he was on his way, and it makes one wonder just what was going on here. Yet another very strange deer man sighting was made recently, as 2012, in the Wichita Mountains of Oklahoma. In this account, a Kai Haying claims that he was out at the Wichita Mountains National Wildlife Refuge in order to take photographs of the night sky, there with a friend. On this evening at around 10 p.m., the usual sounds of the forest suddenly became muted, and the local wildlife started to display some decidedly bizarre and uncharacteristic behavior. First, some elk came running by, and then a herd of bison, which all came uncomfortably close before hurrying off. And it seemed almost as if these animals were trying to get away from something, scaring them out of the dark forest beyond. This was enough to spook the men into packing up their stuff and calling it a night.
Getting the hell out.
Right, they're noping out. And as they did, they allegedly felt a strange change in the air pressure, and all the sounds of the woods just stopped to send a profound silence crashing down upon them. The two unsettled men then heard something rustling about out in some tall grass nearby. Jarring in the otherwise void of silence, they had blanketed the area, and it seemed like whatever it was coming towards them. He claims that he and his friends had then picked up some rifles they had with them, wary of what was apparently approaching, and they started the car and began to drive off when they saw something step out in front of the vehicle that they would never forget. A creature which the witness describes as having a head like an elk, but which stood upright on two human legs, and which had two human arms and dark red eyes. As they passed it, the nightmarish creature lurched forward to hit the car, and Haying floored it away as fast as the vehicle would go, until they were about 3 miles away, where they stopped their flight to regain their wits. Haying would say of what happened next thus. Thus. We were scared, shirtless.
Yeah.
That's the version I'm going to say on the show. They were scared shirtless. Things got even quieter when we stayed there. While there, we heard one ear-piercing screech or scream, almost a hunting screech of some sort, that made my hair stand on end and gave me goosebumps. Even worse, with that, we left the mountains completely. We felt as though we were not wanted there that night. The way the wildlife acted, the figure that we came across that the animals had to have ran from, and then the scream of which I can only find reference to happens to be a banshee. I cannot forget the figure that we saw, as well as the scream. It was not human, but it was not of any wildlife that I'm familiar with out there. Just as odd is a report from 2017. Featured on the site Phantoms and Monsters from a witness called Paul in the state of Virginia. On this evening, he says that he was sitting out on the back porch having a cigarette and there it starts. That's how it always begins. And talking to his friend on his mobile phone. The area described as thickly wooded, and from somewhere out in the night, he heard something run across the yard and crashing through the brush. He figured at this point that it was just a deer or some other animal, and kept talking to his friend on the phone, but things would get steadily stranger, and the witness would say, "Suddenly I heard a noise down by the dock. I was like, there it is again. For some reason, my first thought was, there's some kids playing around down there. I don't know why I thought that, but that's the first thing I thought. And anyway, I got up and went running over towards the stairs to go down to the dock. And they're steep stairs. And when I get to the stairs, I get to the top of them and I look down, and there's this thing running up the stairs towards me. And I was just in shock. Jimmy asked what he saw, and it was a person, but it had a deer head. And it was running up the stairs so fast, it was crazy, that I couldn't even move that fast, and it was staring right at me. And I'm just standing there, and I'm staring at it, and it had red eyes. It actually had red eyes. One friend said that means it was demonic, and I said, I don't think it was demonic or anything. Anyway, it ran right up to me. It kept staring me in the eyes, and I was staring right back at its eyes, just kind of in shock, I guess. When it got right up to me, it actually said something, which I don't know what it said. I just know it said something like 4 or 5 syllables real fast.
You will die.
Might have been that. It seemed like it said words, but I don't know what they were. And then it ran right. It just kept running and ran right by me. I could have touched it. It was within inches of me. The stairway is only 4 feet across. I had hardly told anybody about this because it was just the craziest thing I've ever seen. That's what someone suggested, but I said, no. It was moving way too fast. It was moving so fast that when I thought about it later, I was like, man, it was almost like in a different dimension or something. And that's all I could think. I think it was a being that had a human body and had a deer head. And the antlers weren't like the deer around here. They weren't like the white-tailed deer here. They were more spindly. They were spindly, and there was a lot more like ties or branches than normal. I actually saw a branch once, and I was like, oh my God, that branch looks like one of the antlers on that thing I saw. How much longer do we have here? Let me just take a look, because we are rapidly approaching the break.
You have about 4 minutes.
Yeah, I could probably read another segment of this, but we are definitely going to have to continue. Right. Where was I now? Hold on. I got to... Okay.
Right there, yeah.
Yep. So I'm going to read a little bit more, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have to interrupt this in order to go to the hour break. Then we'll come back and polish this up. There have been supposed deer man sightings up in Canada as well, in particular the region of Alberta. In one peculiar report from the site, the Deer Men of Central Alberta, that looks like a good site. We'll have to check that out. We have a witness near the small village of Donalda, central Alberta, and the witness was allegedly driving along the road, remote and rural road called Range Road 174, and said he'd gotten lost. He pulled over to the side of the road to get his bearings straight, and that's when up ahead he noticed something very frightening indeed. He describes the creature he saw as a half man, half deer on all fours standing perfectly still. He said he looked on. The bizarre beast then stood up to its full height, standing around 7 feet tall, and began to walk on 2 legs towards the car, which was when the witness could detect an odoriferous stench permeating the air. Here we go again, Don.
Mm-hmm.
The creature supposedly had skittish movements. Wendigo. And snorted as it made its way towards the terrified witness. The creature apparently approached to within feet of the car, after which the witness sped away and looked back to see it go back down on all fours and slink away into the wilderness. Look at that. Look at that drawing. Oof. That's a big one. Maybe this is probably where we'll...
Yeah, that's probably...
We'll stop here, folks, and we'll come back to this.
Wow. these are... I think these are more than just deer stories.
Well, they are. I think he's got a whole menagerie of things being represented in here.
Deer stories, I should say. But yeah.
Right. It's not just, I think he's had, like you said, Skinwalker or shamanic experiences. I think he's had Wendigo encounters, possibly something out of mythology, like a faun or something of that effect. That's very interesting. Very interesting. So we're going to keep diving into this when we come back, folks. But if you're new to the show, you're watching on YouTube, just understand that we have to take these breaks because we are simulcasting on Truth Frequency Radio, which is also simulcasting on iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. So we are, unfortunately, have to take half-hour breaks. And so those of you on YouTube will get these video menageries that I threw together with some songs. So hopefully you'll enjoy it, and it'll be well worth your time. So
Dawson J says, never heard of this thing. There have been many half-horse sightings where I'm from, though.
Ooh, love to hear about that. Would love to hear about that for sure. So, and if you email us stuff like that, love to cover it on the show. If you find subjects that you think could be worth sharing, we'll cover them. So we're going to go to break, folks. Don't go away. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, ripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me, and their lies keep falling apart. Just make sure that you're well fed.
I can't see you, Mommy. Where are you? I've never sensed anything like it. Carol Ann is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeist are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hour number 2 is among us, so we've got that going for us. And as such, thank you so much for joining us here on the Paranormal Portal. As always, we are excited to bring you these paranormal-packed fun fests. And we are thrilled that you're here with us. Make sure, if you're not already subscribed on the YouTube channel, get subscribed, hit the like, show the love, spread the word, share the streams, and let people know about the Paranormal Portal. Thank you so much for all of your patronage and love. And let's get on with the show.
Oh my goodness. I'm still jealous.
All right, folks, we are back at it. Hour number 2 is upon us, so we are ready to roll. Excuse me. And we are midway in an article, I don't know, mid or 2/3 of the way through an article by Brent Swanser.
Yeah, go figure.
We are, yeah, I mean, they're so well written, though. I just love reading his work because I learn something every time. But we are covering an article he wrote about mysterious, bizarre encounters with deer men, is what it's called. But I imagine deer people because you mentioned the women before, and then
yeah.
so it's deer people.
Let's be PC now.
Of course, we embrace PC. But this is another article, another part of the article, and this says, another report from the same site comes from a husband and wife who had been driving at night in the vicinity of a town of Mirror, located in Lacombe County, central Alberta. Oops, cough coming. It was a spring morning, and the thick fog had enveloped the road at the time, forcing the witness to slow their vehicle down to a crawl. It was then that they would have a brush with something from beyond our understanding. And the report reads, while they drove slowly through the fog, they both claimed that they saw something moving in and out of the fog with such great speed that it couldn't have been a man. While they continued to drive, they swear it looked like a deer but was too large to be a deer. Not wanting to scare the known skittish animal, the husband slowed to a stop and waited for a moment or two in the hopes of having it run away and in the hopes of not hitting it. Slowly, the husband began driving again and was forced to slam on the brakes as standing just a few feet in front of them was the deer man. It stood perfectly still and slowly stood up on its hind legs and is said to have towered over their car. Without a second thought, the husband slammed on the horn and stepped on the gas, and the fear took hold of him, and he didn't want to have his life end, if that was what was in the cards or not. He didn't want to find out and was protecting the life of his wife. Just before his car was to make contact with the deer man, it bolted into the fields covered by the thick fog. The couple had no idea what they saw and didn't stop until they reached their driveway. Good
Probably
for them.
a good idea, yes.
Just keep going. You just don't know.
Honey, just drive faster.
Just faster. Let's go.
I understand you're driving fast, but can we fly slow?
Yeah, let's just jump in a plane. What could such entities as we have looked at here possibly be? One of the most popular ideas is that these are examples of what are known as skinwalkers, shape-shifting entities mostly known through the lore of the Navajo Native Americans, who call them the Naaldluishi. I don't know. I'm doing the best I can, folks, but which literally translates to the one who goes on all fours. They are typically described as having once been powerful witches or medicine men who, through magical means that vary from tradition to tradition, have acquired various supernatural powers, chief among them to the ability to shape-shift into various animal forms such as coyotes, crows, wolves, bears, cougars, owls, and others, including deer, as well as half-human abominations that merge the features of animal and man. They are also said to be extremely fast, strong, and agile, and have an assortment of other powers such as the ability to mesmerize, instill supernatural fear, read minds, sow confusion, and to possess the bodies of others for short durations. They are usually described as being rather animalistic looking, even in human form, are often naked but not always, and are generally seen as being almost impossible to kill, with one of the only ways is to use a bullet or knife covered in special white ash. For the most common method of becoming a skinwalker is said to be for the medicine man or witch to, in a sense, bring a dark curse upon themselves by performing rituals and rites of pure evil. In order to be imbued with their dark powers, they, in addition to gruesome rituals, are said to be required to commit great atrocities, grotesqueries, or grave taboos, often including the murder of a loved one and other horrific acts. If all is done correctly, they are infused with the insidious curse and all of their sinister powers it comes with. This most often results in the newly minted skinwalker being banished from the tribe, after which they wander the wilderness, stalking and tormenting anyone they come across, feeding off of the fear they conjure in those who look upon them. They are in a sense cursed to walk these barren badlands forever, and they are at once both evil monsters and tragic figures, but they have brought this down upon themselves. This is the main lore, although there are variations, but it is hard to get complete details, as this is a legend very much kept within the tribe, almost never spoken of to outsiders, and rarely discussed even among the Navajo, as it is considered taboo to do so, and can even draw the attention of the creatures. This is an interesting notion with regards to reports of deer men, but the thing is that these creatures have been sighted far out of the range of the Navajo, so is it something similar? It could also be that we're looking at some sort of interdimensional phenomena, with these creatures passing over to our reality from some other place. Or it could be something else altogether, who knows? For now, these remain truly strange anomalies, seemingly a mixture between cryptozoology and the paranormal. And they are representative of a phenomena well off the beaten path and inhabiting the very fringes of weirdness. Awesome article. Oh my God. This guy can sew a masterpiece, and with the skill of his pen. I just love it. And really interesting. I would say it also embodies, as we mentioned, the possible Wendigo encounters, especially the one that was rotting and stinking and had patches of fur. That is the epitome of what is often depicted in the Wendigo claims, lore, descriptions. That is the description. And I don't know what you would do if you saw this dead zombie-looking deer coming at you, but I can imagine I would have like a poop trail following me. It'd be just like
code brown.
Yeah, no, it'd be code liquid brown. Yeah, that'd be horrible, man. I don't know. I don't know what that fear would be like, but it would have to be.
Would it be running in the jeans?
It might just work as a booster at that point. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how strong that pucker would be, but I'm betting it could probably lend some velocity to me. Just saying, I'm not proud of that, but I'm just being honest. That is terrible. Terrible stories, but I don't know what you guys think about the deermen, but I think that is absolutely fascinating because, again, we're presented with another creature, another kind of creature that might be its own thing. It might be a blend of several different things, but I do have to say that I think some of what people are seeing are nature spirits that are manifest for whatever reason. The one running up from the boat docks, it came up to the person, said 4 words, and was just gone. It was supernatural speed. They could just be manifestations of possible. I mean, we often refer to these supernatural beings like, you know, spirits and ghosts and shadow men and stuff, all this stuff, as spirits, but they may not be spirits at all. They just appear in that same fashion to us. They could be just transdimensional, interdimensional, or something else, and that's how they appear in our reality. They may not have that ethereal reality in their own truth, but who knows? But I think some of it is that as well. Could be the fawns, the what is satyrs, satyrs, and fawns and things like that. Could be some other form, maybe more native, because the fawns and satyrs are of European version of that. Maybe there's an America's version of it that looks more deer-like than goat-like, as is often described for the fawns and the satyrs, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So it's hard to know, but interesting enough. I think it's all incredibly exciting and incredibly unnerving at the same time. Mm-hmm. There's things out in those woods, folks. I don't know. I spent a lot of time in the woods as a kid, and I lived in a very sheltered area. I only had one account of being growled at by something that I couldn't possibly reconcile in my 14-year-old mind. Other than that, I was in those woods all the time, but there were still times, and I can even as an adult when I lived there were times when I'd be outside and I just didn't feel welcome outside, like something was around, and it's hard to explain that to somebody if they don't have an experience of their own. But anybody that lives around real deep woods and stuff, there's just times when you don't feel like you should be out there. And it's hard to explain, but maybe that's because some of these other things are out there. Maybe they're in your neighborhood at that time, and it's your higher self or your guardian angels going, nope, get in. Yep, nope, let's not do this. But anyway, I believe wholeheartedly, and I've said it many times, there are lots of things running around that we don't understand currently and may never understand. But I think that they do rear their heads in our realities in the forms of these claims. People are seeing things that they don't know what to do with. They can't reconcile them either. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Don? He's getting to the microphone.
I'm just, yeah. I don't know whether to, so I'm the guy who says I'd rather believe in aliens and Bigfoot than ghosts and things like that. But there are some things I don't want to believe in.
Sure.
And those are some of the things I don't want to believe in, like the evil Bruja, and brujas are generally evil Brujas. Anyhow, but and the shamans and the just like you said, at the end of the story there, the shaman who wants to become a skinwalker. Who wants to become a skinwalker? That's like I talked to you it's like psychopathic killers. Somebody knew them when they were kids.
Yeah.
And who would want to grow up to be a psychopathic killer? So, but anyhow, I digress.
Right. Sorry, I'm just answering a chatter here.
Yes.
Yeah, I was asked if I grew up in the Rockies or something. I was like, no, I grew up in Minnesota, in the southern part of Minnesota, but it was next to a state forest, and so it was.
The forests here in North Idaho are much more profound and feral.
I think they are. There's a much more feral energy up here.
Do you think it's because maybe it's closer? The trees. It's more thick vegetation.
It's not much more thick than the woods I live next to in Minnesota, but it's just that I don't know. There feels like there's so much more energy to these forests. I mean, the forest I live by was in, it's in Corn Belt, Minnesota.
Right.
So there's these islands of state forest, and otherwise it's just all agriculture. But here it's mostly these giant, expansive forests that go all the way to to Alaska, with some stuff peppered in there along the way. So it's like these forests are much more primal to me. And there's things in this forest even that we know of that may eat me. So
yeah, that's true.
that's not the case in Minnesota. As far as the natural fauna, the acknowledged fauna in the southern Minnesota is deer, fox, raccoons, possum. It's all little stuff. Coyotes, maybe a bobcat or some such thing, but potentially I'd heard claims of mountain lions or like a dark-colored mountain lion every once in a while.
Big cats.
Had a good buddy who said he saw it. It was in a forest area near where we lived, and he saw one. He said it was in his headlights. Big mountain lion-looking thing, but it was black. But he could see the muscles rippling. And anybody he talked to, no, they aren't here.
It was a kid in a cat suit.
It was a bunny. It was a big bunny. Yes, we'll look
There
at
you
that in as well. But I just wondered if you wanted to break into one of yours.
Oh, well, I pulled up a story about the Dropa Stones.
Okay.
And the Dropa in general, but specifically the Dropa Stones. So, yeah, if you want me to get into that, it's
just
a couple minute read here.
Yep, by all means. I'll put you on the main camera. Explain what they are quick, if you would.
The Dropa Stones. Well, the Dropa Stones were... There's supposedly 716 of these round stone discs, about 9 inches ish across, with a hole in the center, like a vinyl record. And supposedly, they had a groove in it that started from the middle and worked its way out like a record. Well, at some point, somebody came to the realization that inside these little tiny grooves were very, very small, minute hieroglyphs. And supposedly it's told a story of the Dropa people.
Cool.
Now, so it says, they came from the sky, the story of the Dropa, the mysterious Dropa stones, or the Chinese Roswell. Go figure. This story is known under a lot of names. No matter which one you choose, the story of the Dropa is one of the most interesting and fascinating stories in the history of alien and human mankind. Here, I don't know why it says and alien and human mankind. The discovery. The discovery took place in 1938 in the high mountains of Biran Karaula, in the border between China and Tibet. An archaeologist expedition guided by the Chinese professor Chi Puti detected regularly...
Did you say cheaper tea?
Oh, boy. Only if you throw in the Boston Harbor. Chi Puti. Or maybe it's Tay, I'm not sure. Detected regularly aligned rows of graves in the mountainous caves in the mountains. The skeletons were remains after a strange and different race of human beings. The skeletons measured a little more than 4 feet. They were very frail, had skulls which were large and overdeveloped. Someone said that it could have been the remains of apes. The professor pointed out then, who ever heard of apes burying one another? As Chi Puti and his team went further into the cave, they discovered interesting cave paintings. On the walls of the caves were rock drawings which represented, it says, beings, B-E-E-I-N-G, literally beings, with round helmets. Engraved in the rocks were also sun, moon, earth, and stars connected by groups of pea-sized dots. The best discovery is yet to come. Half buried in the dust in the floor, the team found a large stone disc, which looked like a Stone Age gramophone record. There was a hole in the center and a fine groove spiraling out from the center to the rim. The plates had been between 10 and 12,000 years old and was older than the Great Pyramids in Egypt. In all, 716 plates were found. Each stone disc was 9 inches in diameter and 3/4 inch thick. Each disc also had a perfectly circular 2-centimeter hole in the exact center. The message. Upon closer inspection, it was detected that the groove was not a groove at all, but a continuous lines of strange carved hieroglyphs. The tiny, almost microscopic characters were in a language never encountered before. The discs were labeled and stored at the Beijing University. Many experts tried to translate the inscriptions, but without any success. It wasn't until 1962 that another Chinese scientist, Dr. Sum Nui, was able to decode the message of the stone plates. The result was so amazing that the prehistory department of the Beijing Academy forbade him to publish his findings or even talk about it. Dr. Nui continued his research and was finally allowed to publish his works. The paper appeared under the title The Grooved Scripts Concerning Spaceships Which, as recorded on discs, landed on Earth 12,000 years ago. That was the name of the paper. It's
obviously spent a lot of time thinking about that
apparently
one.
So, yeah.
What do I call this?
Oh, let's just take it straight from the middle of it. Here we go. This is what we'll call
How about
it.
this sentence? That'll be the title.
There you go. It says the shocking message, I think they mean the shocking message of the Dropa Stones, were written by a people who called themselves Dropa. The stone disc tells the story of how the Dropa people were traveling in space from a distant planet. The spaceship crash landed in the Bian Kara Ula Mountains in the Himalayas. The occupants of the spacecraft, the Dropa, found refuge in the caves in the mountains. Despite their peaceful intentions, the Dropa were misunderstood by members of the Ham tribe, who were occupying neighboring caves and who hunted down the aliens and even killed some of them.
Oh, jeez. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, come on over. We'll have you for dinner.
Ba-dum-bum.
A translation... Oh, my. A translation of one of the passages says, the Dropa came from the clouds in their aircraft. Men, women, and children hid in the caves 10 times before sunrise. When at last they understood the sign language of the Dropa, they realized that the newcomers had peaceful intentions. Another section tells that the alien spaceship had crash-landed in such a remote and inaccessible mountain range that there had been no possibility of building a new one to enable the Dropa to return to their home planet. They were stranded on Earth. It says the whole story, Hole.
Okay.
I didn't write it.
What a horrible thing to have happen though. You crash.
Yeah.
You're stuck, and then you can't possibly get home.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta deal with cave people and stuff that just want to throw rocks at you. It's like, oh my God.
Let's beat him with a
there's
stick.
thousands of years of evolution on your side.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay.
The whole story was not taken seriously in the West. Everything changed as a Russian philologist, Philologist,
Philologist?
I don't know what that one is. And he's Russian, so he's got a Russian name. The doctor in 1968 published the extracts from the stone plate story in the Sputnik magazine.
Mm.
The Russian scientist, Dr. Zaitsev, did more research and came up with really interesting results. Physically, the granite stones contained a high concentration of cobalt and other metals, a very hard stone indeed. It would have made it difficult for primitive people to carve lettering, especially with such minute characters. When testing the discs on a oscillograph, a surprising oscillation rhythm was recorded as if, the scientist said, they had been electrically charged or had functioned as electrical conductors.
Oh.
Have any of the Dropa people survived? At the time of the discovery, the cave area was still inhabited by two tribes known as the Khams and the Dropas, themselves extremely odd in appearance. Anthropologists have been unable to categorize either tribe into any other known race. They are neither Chinese, Mongol, nor Tibetan. They are yellow-skinned with thin bodies and disappropriately large heads, corresponding to the skeletal remains found in caves in 1938. They have sparse hair on their bodies and have large eyes, and average height is 4 foot. The Dropa ruling couple, one was 4 foot tall and one was 3 foot 4 inches tall. An ancient Chinese tale tells the story of small, slender, yellow-skinned people who descended from Earth from the clouds, and who were hunted by everyone because of their ugliness. In 1995, there was a remarkable news report from China. In the province of Sichuan? Yes, which lies on the eastern border of the mountains, 120 people of previously ethnologically unclassified tribes had been discovered. The most important aspect of the new tribe is the size of the people, no taller than 3 foot 10 inches. The smallest human only measuring 2 foot 1 inch. This discovery might be the first hard evidence of the existence of the Dropa, a people whose predecessors are said to have come from outer space. What happened to the stones? In 1974, an Austrian engineer, Ernst Wegener, came across 2 such discs in Bampo Museum in Juan. He photographed them, taking a total of 4 pictures. As the German scientist Hartwig Hausdorff and colleague Peter Krause...
We got to hit the break, brother.
I'm almost done. Okay, I'll pick up when we're back.
We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, with more of the Dropa Stones and the Paranormal Portal. Don't go away.
And guess what? Welcome back. We're glad you're still here. We want you to hang out with us for just a little bit longer. Anyhow, welcome back. We're back from our last break. That was the last break, right? Wow. An hour and a half, just that quick, huh? Yeah, that's right. Paisley's show's coming up afterwards on TFR, and she's got her YouTube. So there you go. I have no idea what she's talking about today, so who knows? I think she told me, but I can't remember. But I'll find out when I get there anyhow. So anyhow, back to the portal. I was talking about the Dropa. And so I was almost done. I just got this one last paragraph, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to back up just a little bit. It says, what has happened to the stones? In 1974, an Austrian engineer, Ernst Wegener, came across 2 such discs in the Banpo Museum in Juan. He photographed them and taking a total of 4 photos. As the German scientist Hartwig Hausdorff and colleague Peter Krause visited China and the Banpo Museum in Juan in 1994, they were told that the director's superiors had ordered the discs destroyed and that officially they do not recognize their existence. Furthermore, Hausdorff found out the Chinese government do not have any official record of a tribe called the Dropa, neither in the local area of Quezon or whatsoever in China. So what happened to the discs? Are there any left? If yes, then where are they? The story of the Dropa could be one of the best evidence of ancient astronauts did visit the Earth in the past, and yet better, they're still around us today. Well, there you go. So, you know, that I don't know why that came to me to talk about the Dropa, but that it's really interesting about the cave and the rock, the drawings of the solar systems and the pea-sized planets and things like this. And the skulls were a little more than, they had very frail and were very frail and had skulls that were large and overdeveloped. And then you have these discs, these 9-inch discs with 2-centimeter holes in it with the spirals or the grooves in it, that when played on an oscilloscope created what could be electric energy, some kind of conduit, if you will.
Yeah.
Or incomplete circuit,
Right. That's pretty intense. The thing that always boggles my imagination is that, okay, so these people may very well have come from a different part of the galaxy or the cosmos or whatever. They came all this way. They got here. And these are advanced races that are thousands, maybe millions, maybe tens of thousands, maybe only hundreds, but of years more advanced than us, and they're still driving these things into the dirt. It's like, what's going on? What is it? Maybe it's Earth. Maybe Earth is part of the problem.
What is the magnetic field that emanates from the Earth? It's called
the magnetosphere.
The magnetosphere, but it's called something. The torsion.
Okay.
Torsion.
Oh, there's a torus. It's a torus field.
Right.
It's like a donut.
That's what it is. I can't remember what it's called now. Yeah. But anyhow, maybe it's because they're bumping into that, and it's like an EMP to them, and they lose all.
It's just crazy because they're coming here. They're managing to navigate millions,
asteroids
possibly
and
light years,
planets, and exactly,
and all of the black holes and all that other phenomena. They get to
crash
Earth.
on Earth.
they get to Earth, and there's a thunderstorm, and they're really. I don't understand that. But I can't imagine how heartbreaking that must be. Like, why did they come here? Were they just like, let's go check out that place? This is like a family sightseeing trip that just went really lost in space.
They forgot to lock their doors as they flew by.
Who left the window open? Damn it!
Jesus, we're losing cabin pressure. Does anybody know how to fly a plane?
Right, but it's just shocking that they were these advanced peoples. They crash, they get stuck in the caves. Yeah.
Elaine says Earth is the dead man's curve of the cosmos.
Right. It's like, what the hell? Why are these super advanced races crashing their crap here? It's like, didn't you sort out driving them back home before you got here?
Exactly.
It's
did you never get a license?
It's like the kids taking the car and just running around, and then they're stuck here. It's like, oh my God. So you'd be stuck here. What do you do? You're dealing with people throwing rocks at you, and
3-hour tour.
You know, yeah, exactly. Stop killing. I'm here to tell you, folks, that stuff. I don't get it.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. What do you do? But they still manage to drive their stuff into the dirt. These are super advanced. So I don't know. Maybe we're always going to have car trouble. It just doesn't matter.
And why do most of them end up in Nevada?
I don't know. Well, the Dropa didn't. They ended up in the mountains of the Himalayas, right?
Apparently, they're bad luck.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if a desert is necessarily luckier, but I don't know. I'd be aiming for something tropical like Florida. Yeah, we'll put down there. If we get
God's
stuck, oh well.
Room, right?
Yeah. Oh well, we'll hang out at the beach. Yeah, we'll be okay. I don't know. Earth is the ghetto, Dawson says. It almost seems like that, but I don't know why these super advanced races just can't sort out flying once they get here. Is there something that like geometrically lowers their IQ once they get in the atmosphere? What chase button for? It's like there's a dumb field.
It's like Idiocy. There's a movie on the Idiocy.
Oh, I don't know about that, but it's like there's a dumb field around Earth. It's like, and then we'll run the test on. What's that button do? I don't know. It just cracks me up. I can't sort it out, but it's the learning planet. You're right, Ruthie. And perhaps you just get dumber when you get here. I don't know.
It's the learning planet. Yeah.
I think there's, but anyway, whatever the case is, what a heartbreaker.
It's like
to travel all the way here and just get stranded.
You know, to prove that you're a man, you must go out into the wilderness.
Yeah, it's the rite of passage.
Survive 1 week.
I know. I can't imagine, folks. That's the tragedy of it all.
When the paradigm shatters.
It does. Yeah. Out there, they were super intelligent. Here, they are just as dumb as we are.
They're about as bad as a box of hair.
Yeah. Right. They're smart as a bag of hammers. But we've got more. Always got more. I've got to wonder, which one are we going to cover?
Oh, which one's shorter?
I don't know. I guess I want to look at this one and just see how long this is. I've not heard of this before.
There's Frank. Go
but it's plenty long.
Oh my goodness, that is a big one.
I don't even think I could squeeze this in. So I think I'll save this maybe for tomorrow's Night Terrors.
There you go.
But we can talk about a couple things. The first of which, speaking of UFOs, which we've done a lot of in the last segment and now, this is from the History Channel, history.com, folks. And this
it's not
article,
just a channel, it's a .com.
It's the .com, it's the whole deal. These are the 5 most credible modern UFO sightings. What do a saucer, a wingless tic-tac-shaped craft, and mile-long strobe lights have in common? They all defy explanation. Written by Robert Shapiro. Again, from June 5th, 2019, so it's a couple years old, but it says in 2017, several news organizations revealed the existence of the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, AATIP, U.S. government-funded program that investigated unidentified flying objects between 2007 and 2012. The secret $22 million program, however, was not the first of its kind. Official government UFO studies began in the late 1940s with Project Sign, providing some of the most credible videos of aerial phenomena to date. Within a few years, that program eventually evolved into Project Blue Book, which actively investigated UFO sightings throughout much of the Cold War. The 2017 revelation that the U.S. government was actively researching UFOs reignited world interest in UFO and aliens. Below are 5 of the most believable UFO sightings in the 21st century. Number 1, lights above the New Jersey Turnpike. From 2001. Takes a lot for motorists to stop alongside a highway to look toward the sky, but on July 14th, 2001, drivers on the New Jersey Turnpike did just that. For around 15 minutes just after midnight, they marveled at the sight of strange orange and yellow lights in a V formation over the Arthur Kill waterway between waterway between Staten Island, New York, and Carteret, New Jersey. Carteret Police Department's Lieutenant Daniel Tarrant was one of the witnesses, as well as other metro area residents from the Throgs Neck Bridge. Oh, I don't know what the Throgs Neck is. on Long Island and Fort Lee, New Jersey, near the George Washington Bridge. Air traffic controllers initially denied that any airplanes, military jets, or space flights could have caused the mysterious lights, but a group known as the New York Strange Phenomena Investigators, New York SPI, claimed to receive FAA radar data that corroborated the UFO sightings from that night. All right, the USS Nimitz, these are, everybody knows, but we'll go over it again anyway because it's part of the article. On November 14, 2004, the USS Princeton, part of the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group, noted an unknown craft on radar 100 miles off the coast of San Diego. For 2 weeks, the crew had been tracking objects that appeared at 80,000 feet and then plummeted to hover right above the Pacific Ocean. When two FA-18F fighter jets from the carrier group, Nimitz group, arrived in the area, they first saw what appeared to be churning water with the shadow of an oval shape underneath the surface. Then, in a few moments, a white tic-tac-shaped object appeared above the water. It had no visible markings to indicate an engine, wings, or windows. And infrared monitors didn't reveal any exhaust. Black Aces Commander David Fravor and Lieutenant Commander Jim Slate of Strike Fighter Squadron 41 attempted to intercept the craft, but it accelerated away, reappearing on radar 60 miles away. It moved 3 times the speed of sound and more than twice the speed of the fighter jets. Here's the O'Hare International Airport saucer in 2006. Flight 446 was getting ready to fly to North Carolina from Chicago's O'Hare International Airport when a United Airlines employee on the tarmac noticed a dark gray metallic craft hovering over gate C-17. That day, November 7th, 2006, a total of 12 United employees and a few witnesses outside the airport spotted the saucer-shaped craft at around 4:15 p.m. The witness says it hovered for about 5 minutes before shooting upward, where it broke a hole in the clouds enough that the pilots and mechanics could see the blue sky. The news report became the most read story of the Chicago Tribune's website to that date and made international news. However, because the UFO was not seen on radar, the FAA called it a weather phenomena and declined to investigate.
Of course.
You lazy bastards. Number 4, the Stephenville sighting of 2008. The small town of Stephenville, Texas, 100 miles southwest of Dallas, is mostly known for its dairy farms, but in the
What's on dairy farms?
I don't know.
Cows.
Cows, you're right, Don. You're right. Oh, my God. There, Corey Nina says, I know it. Ooh. Dozens of its residents viewed something unique in the sky. Citizens reported seeing white lights above Highway 67. First in a single horizontal arc and then in vertical parallel lines. Local pilot Steve Allen estimated that the strobe lights spanned about 1 mile long and 1/2 mile wide. Traveled at about 3,000 miles per hour. No sound was reported. Witnesses believe the event was reminiscent of the Phoenix Lights sightings of 1997, while the U.S. Air Force revealed weeks later that F-16s were flying in the Brownswood military operating areas just southwest of Stephenville. Many townspeople didn't buy that explanation, believing that what they saw was too technologically advanced for current human abilities. Yeah, it's not you guys. East Coast Go Fast video, 2015. When news leaked in 2017 of the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, a video emerged that revealed an encounter between an F-18 Super Hornet and an unidentified aerial phenomena seen along the East Coast on a Raytheon Advanced Targeting Forward-Looking Infrared ATF or AT FLIR pod. The craft was similar to that spotted off San Diego in 2004, a fast-moving white oval about 45 feet long without wings or exhaust plume. The pilots tracked the object at 25,000 feet above the Atlantic Ocean as it flew away and simultaneously rotated on its axis. No explanation ever did emerge. And there's a video. But I think we've all seen that. So these are the 5 most credible recent sightings. And by recent, it's within the last 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
Yeah. And those are good ones. I remember watching a show about the O'Hare one, and it's You know, it's almost heartbreaking that so many people saw this silver disc, and they saw it shoot up and go through the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
And then to have that slap in the face, it's a weather phenomenon.
It's a weather phenomena.
Oh my God!
Thank
How would
you, FAA.
Yeah, I know. Talk about just debasing just the intelligence of these
you guys
observers.
are idiots. You
Yeah.
don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, it's what
ball
we said.
Lightning.
Ball lightning. Yeah, it's always ball lightning, Don. So pretty wild stuff. What are we at with the time here? Because I gotta stay on schedule. 10 minutes.
Oh, thank you, Android. Oh, and Kirsten too.
Oh, what's going on? What's
Nothing
going on?
gives.
Android buddy, thanks for the good
maybe
show,
a little,
guys.
yeah.
Oh, thank you, brother.
A little something, yeah.
I appreciate that. And Kirsten.
Yeah, Kirsten a little earlier.
Oh, thank you, Kirsten. Wow. You guys are awesome. We love you. Love you bunches. Hey, what was this? Did you grow up in the... Oh, yeah, that was that old question that I answered already. Okay. Just trying to keep up, folks. So now we got another group of questions.
Questions?
No.
We have questions?
No, we have answers.
Okay.
Hopefully we have answers.
That'd be a first.
I'm speaking sideways here. Let me do this. I'm going to go to this one. This is another UFO thing from the BBC News. And this is an article about the UFO sighting investigated by the police. The man who said he was attacked by a UFO. It is a video.
Was it Tom Dingland?
Huh?
From the TTBSA?
No, this is BBC, so I don't think...
I misunderstood the acronym.
When forestry worker Robert Taylor reported seeing an alien spaceship in the woods near Livingston 40 years ago, it made headlines around the world. I think this is the guy that got burned by the exhaust plume.
Oh, okay,
yeah. By that grate. He had like that burn pattern on his chest, but let's see what it says. The Dechmont Woods incident is unusual among reported UFO sightings in that it was investigated by the police. They treated the rips to Mr. Taylor's trousers as evidence of an assault, but could never quite work out what had happened to him. Let me blow this up a little bit. We're going to just raise the magnification.
You could just do it right there, too.
Oh, I did not know that. Oh, okay. Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't know that, but Don's teaching me all the time. All right. So in his testimony to the police, the 61-year-old described how he saw a 30-foot-high dome-shaped object in a clearing in the forest near West Lothian, Newtown, on 9th of November, 1979. He told how two spiked spheres then rolled out towards him as he passed out. He was aware of being grabbed on either side of his legs. Mr. Taylor woke up in a disheveled state 20 minutes later. Mr. Taylor, who died in 2007, was a respected war hero and teetotal churchgoer, and no one doubted that he was sincere in what he believed he had seen, and throughout the rest of his life he never deviated from his story. He told police he had been working alone checking fences and gates at Dechmont Woods at 10:30 when he came across the spaceship in a clearing. Wow, what would that be like, huh? After the spiked objects rushed out and tried to grab hold of him, all he could remember was a strong smell of burning. When he came to, the clearing was empty apart from a pattern of deep, regular marks on the ground. He went to his van, but he was so shaken he drove it into a ditch and had to stagger home in a dazed condition. When he got to his house, he told his wife Mary he'd been attacked by a spaceship thing. Because Mr. Taylor was in such a state, the police were called. The officers found themselves inquiring into an assault on a forester by alien beings. Detcon Ian Wark, the scene of crime investigator, arrived at the clearing to find a large gathering of police officers were already there. He told BBC he saw strange marks on the ground. There were about 32 holes, which were about 3.5 inches in diameter, as well as marks to those made by the type of caterpillar tracks often fitted on bulldozers. Okay. The officer went to Mr. Taylor's employer, Livingston Development Corporation, to see if the machinery they had could solve the mystery. Okay. After examining every piece of machinery they had up there, we did not find anything to match. The police officer said the unusual marks on the ground were only to be found in the clearing where Mr. Taylor had experienced his reported close encounter. These marks just arrived, Jetcon Wark said. They did not come from anywhere or go anywhere. They just arrived as though a helicopter or something had landed from the sky. The police report from the time said the marks on the ground indicated an object of several tons had stood there, but there was nothing to show that it had been driven or towed away. P.C. William Douglas wrote, there appeared to be no rational explanation for these marks. As part of the police investigation, Mr. Taylor's ripped trousers were sent for forensic examination, but this was many years before modern DNA techniques, so analysis was concentrated on how the damage has been done. Police forensics say the trousers seem to have been damaged by something hooking them or moving them. The trousers are now in the possession of Malcolm Robinson, a ufologist who had been investigating such cases since the Detchmont incident. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry. They said they were police-issue blue serge trousers, and the type of rips in them did not happen by getting snagged as Mr. Taylor crawled away on the ground. Mr. Robinson, who has given lectures on the incident across the UK, Holland, France, and the USA, and written a book on the subject, said it was one of the most incredible cases in the world. He said it was one of the very few hardcore cases that defied any explanation. There are many theories about what actually happened to Mr. Taylor. These include everything from hallucinatory berries to black ball lightning and a mirage of the planet Venus. Really?
Huh?
A mirage of the planet Venus. Like he mistook a flying saucer for...
Right.
Because it was a mirage of the planet Venus.
Right.
A medical explanation could lie in an epileptic seizure, being suffered by Mr. Taylor, but there was no evidence of this gathered at the time. In her police statement, his wife Mary said Mr. Taylor had no history of mental illness, but had contracted meningitis 14 years earlier. Oh, there he is. It says, she said the treatment was successful, although in July of that year he had suffered a series of headaches and was admitted to City Hospital in Edinburgh. In his statement, Mr. Taylor said that after the UFO incident, he was examined by the local doctor who called at his house. The doctor suggested he should go to nearby Bangor Hospital for a checkup and x-ray. After waiting 2 hours at the hospital, he got fed up and left without being examined. Detcon Work said he could go along with the theory about the epileptic fit, but what about the marks on the ground, he said. The former police officer cannot bring himself to say he believes Mr. Taylor saw an alien spaceship. I'd have to see it myself to believe it, he said. But he said he interviewed Mr. Taylor 3 times and never changed his story. He believed what he saw, and there was no way he would make that up. Detcon Work said, 40 years on the Detchmont incident has passed into legend. Last year, a UFO trial opened, which takes people to the spot, trail opened, where a Newtown forestry foreman claims he saw an alien spaceship. There was a video on the top of this, and I thought, well, we can check it out because it's part of our presentation. I hope we can. I just want to see what it is.
I was amazed to see in front of me this huge dome-shaped.
Oh, I don't think we can because it's. Yeah, I don't want to go too far into it, but that's him. That's apparently the guy. Very troubling to say the least. Notwithstanding the fact that there isn't much time left, so we've got literally about a minute and a half to go down.
A minute and a half?
A minute and a half. That's how fast we've rolled through the portal tonight.
Huh.
It's crazy. But, again, I hope you guys that are watching on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream will stick around for Paisley Wild Show. Mm-hmm. Coming up next. Mm-hmm. No idea what she's talking about, but she'll be talking about something. And I hope you'll check out our podcast, which will be coming out tomorrow at some point in the day or evening. Might be in the evening. Depends on what my day looks like tomorrow. But it'll be up anyway. If you're not already familiar with our podcast, please get familiar with it. Please help support us on all those platforms, whatever you listen to podcasts on. Look for the Paranormal Portal and spread the word. Most of all, the biggest way that any of you guys can help us, we appreciate all the different ways that you guys help. One of which is just by being here and liking the streams. Before you go, any of you on YouTube, if you would give us some likes on the streams, that would be great. It helps to show people that, hey, what was going on here was pretty good. It was okay. We liked it. And also, you feel free to share these streams to your social media if you know of any groups dealing with the paranormal that you think might enjoy the shows. We'd love to have more people find us it's always exciting to look up into the chat and see new names and stuff. So that's a big part of my fun every time. Anything else, Don?
Teespring.
Teespring. Yeah, if you want to help support us also, head over to teespring.com/stores/paranormal-portal. The link is in the description of this video on YouTube, but check it out if you want some Paranormal Portal gear of your very own. It's up there, and we'd love to see you guys sporting that gear.
Yeah.
If you do get a shirt or anything like that, send us pictures. I'm trying to put together a collage of sorts. But that's going to wrap it up for us, guys. We love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night.
Good night.
Cue the credits.